Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where we will go beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Be part of down-to-earth, no BS conversations where we will explore hot topics on love and money, relationships and business, beauty, and who we get to be with all that shit in between. With our insights and your actions, let's be unstoppable together. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And today we have a very special guest, Mary Kay Hauer, aka MK, MKA, Badass Extraordinaire, aka the sales and marketing coach to worldwide companies. And I wanted to share really quickly with you guys, MK and I connected on LinkedIn using the same strategy that I teach my clients: connect, invite, build relationships. We got on a call. There was so much synergy, and I just love learning about her story. And she's just such a wealth of information. So MK, thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks, Tina. I'm excited to be here. This has been a great journey and a short one. So I'm very excited that here's where we're at today.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit, how did you get into sales and marketing?
Well, it all goes back to when I was selling Girl Scout cookies that long ago. So I just love connecting with people and making them happy and doing things and solving problems that they're struggling with. So I started out in sales in high school, working in department stores and all of those kinds of things, and actually wound up in the technology market and working on really big deals, but they were life-changing and very powerful for organizations that I worked with that have been successful using what I've sold.
I know when we first got on a call, you shared a story about the first time you did a cold call to somebody. Do you mind sharing? I was just like, oh my God, I'll never forget that. Can you share that story about that experience? Because so many people I know are like, oh my God, I'm afraid of sales and what do I do? And I think your story can really connect with our audience.
Absolutely. So I wound up, when I kind of stepped out of corporate market into a different role, I learned a sales process. It was called solution selling, and I thought it was absolutely awesome. And the founder of solution selling, a gentleman by the name of Mike Bosworth, said, you should come and do this full time. And I left my safety of a corporate structure and a paycheck every 2 weeks and jumped to be a consultant with Mike. And he said, when you start your business, it's 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, you are on the phone prospecting into CEOs. Scared me to death. I'd never talked to a CEO. The highest level I'd ever gotten was a VP. And so this was very scary to me. But what was even more scary is I had a mortgage to pay every month and I needed to make money. So I came up with a list of prospect CEOs that I called, and I called one and I said, hello, this is Mary Kay Hauer. You and I haven't spoken before, and we've been working with CEOs in technology companies for over 20 years, and we've been able to help them grow their revenues, and I'd like to share with you how. And there was this long, quiet pause, and the voice on the other end said, what did you say your name was? And I said, Mary Kay Hauer. And he goes, what company are you with? I told him, and he goes, yeah. He said, that's kind of interesting. I'm always interested in learning how I can grow revenue. And I went, uh-oh, I don't know what to say now. I never got that far. That I was actually going to reach a CEO of a company that was interested in talking to me. So the absolute worst thing that a salesperson could do when they've got a potential prospect, I hung up the phone. And it was years of therapy that really helped me move past that. And I was so convinced that this guy had my picture and he threw darts at it every day going, idiot, idiot, idiot. But it was a huge learning lesson for me, a painful one, but it was a great learning lesson.
Isn't that the beauty of our mistakes? Some people get so caught up on the mistakes and I messed up and the story of it all, but to just own our humanity, have a great story to share years later, and so after that situation, did you have a guide? Did you have a mentor? Like, what happened? How did you overcome those fears and those doubts and those limiting beliefs about who you are as a salesperson? What was your process? What did you go through?
So I had to go back and tell Mike what happened, which was very painful. And he said, you have to prepare because what you are going to do and help them with can really help them be successful. And so we put together a strategy using the materials that we had in the solution selling program. And I got on the phone and I had the comfort because I had a process. I had a way that I could fill that dead air time when a customer asked a question and really believe that I had something that could help them be successful. And that was back a long time ago, and I've been doing it ever since. Is really working with companies to focus their approach in calling on executives, talking to people where you can help solve problems and be more of a consultant. I think one of the greatest things that I've seen in being in the market that I'm in is that regardless of whatever you're selling, whatever product that you're selling, it's about how is that going to change or transform a customer. It's not about the great feature functionality. It's not about the bits and the bytes you have. It's what is that going to do for the customer? Or we say the whip them. What's in it for me as a buyer to listen to what you have to say? And if we start talking about our product, the buyer just tunes out. So can I help you? Let's diagnose the situation and then let's figure out how we can help you solve that problem.
I love that. So what did you call it? What did you call it?
So the program was called Solution Selling, and I actually brought it into my company. I was a VP of marketing and sales at that time, and we brought it in and trained the team, and we had phenomenal results. We backed out of opportunities where we couldn't win, and we went after big opportunities, and our competitive advantage was we could have a conversation with a senior level exec and be very comfortable rather than trying to sell to a procurement or trying to sell to somebody who might use what we did, but they couldn't make the decision to buy it. So it shortened sales cycles. It just was significantly successful. And solution selling has since been retired. And I partnered actually with one of my biggest clients who was a senior VP at the time. And he and I have a program called Certesa Consulting. And we took the best of those programs and the best of what he did, and we put it together in our own methodology. It's WIAFM. It's when you're sitting across from a prospect, what's going through their mind is what's in it for me to give you my time? Because time is the most valuable asset that we have these days. So if I want their time, I've got to deliver value. And it's not by educating you on what I sell. It's about trying to understand what you're challenged with and how can we help you? Do I have the capabilities that would help you?
And I think that with this podcast, that's what we do is we just want to be able to be here for people and give them the support and the courage to actually take these steps into, like you said, you left your corporate job, which you had that paycheck every 2 weeks, and you did what you had to do, and you were safe, you were secure, you were in your comfort zone, and then you stepped out of that, and look where you are today, and you've created your own, and that's a story in itself. I love that.
Thank you. It was a lot of, trips and falls, but after all these years, we do what we do and it's been very successful for us.
Who's your ideal client? Who do you love working with?
So we work in a variety of markets. Our average customer has sales teams that are anywhere from 30 to 100. But we're doing small ones that are very intimate and fun, where we're working with startup companies where they've got 1 or 2 salespeople, have this whole big market and help them decide how do we go after and get the biggest wins as quick as we can, versus large companies where that's more about creating a culture. And that's about getting everybody on the same page so that we're selling the same in one part of the world or one part of the US as another one. So it's really about culture in the bigger companies and then the smaller companies.
Amazing. And what are your thoughts about LinkedIn as a selling platform for business? Because I know one of our strategies is to really help people create a system and a process on LinkedIn. It's not just, hey, I'm going to throw up the post here and there, and I'm just going to connect with people and ask them, hey, do you want to have a call with me? What are your thoughts about LinkedIn as a platform for doing business?
I think one of the greatest assets that I have is my connection to so many people. And that connection is actually in the workshops, but it's also in LinkedIn where I've stayed connected with them. And I use it to keep track of these clients. When they go to new companies, I reach out to them, or they may have a connection to somebody and I'll ask for an introduction. And I think LinkedIn is a very powerful tool to stay connected and learn about what are your customers? What are the people that you want to connect with? What are they saying about their world, about their things? And if I see something, then it's a great way to have a conversation. Hey, would love to talk to you about this. And I think it's a fabulous social media to be using. And I think it can be very powerful when it's used the right way.
Yeah, I agree. I do. My business partner, we say our business is linked coach. He does the LinkedIn strategies. I do the coaching, but he's been training and developing me more on LinkedIn and the things that I'm learning myself, even though I've been on the platform for 9 years, like, man, I resisted doing the number one thing that's going to help me build connections. It's really going to people's profiles, learning about them, seeing what they're posting, having conversations in the DM. And I had this experience of like, oh, it's so spammy. Everybody's just trying to sell me. And now that I've shifted my view, I see different evidence of the opposite. Everybody really wants connection. And I'm starting to see, the power of conversations, just like with you and I, Mary Kay, MK. We had this conversation. We didn't know where it was going to go. But it's just now you're on this podcast and we're talking about other synergies, other opportunities of you doing some training, sales training. And it's just like, you don't know what can open up from a conversation unless you're willing to put the belief aside that everybody's trying to sell me. No, maybe we're just really trying to make connections.
Exactly. Exactly. And the greatest compliment is when somebody that I have a relationship on LinkedIn says, hey, my friend could really benefit from what you do. She'd like to talk to you, or he'd like to talk to you. And I get that introduction and that connection. It's a way to connect with the people that we've met in our lifetimes of our jobs, of what we do. It's a great way to stay connected. And it's a great way to find new opportunities, jobs. I mean, it's so valuable that I think if you have anything to do with business, you need to be on LinkedIn. You absolutely do. If you're in the working world.
Yeah. So MK, if you could give us, for those people that are watching right now or listening, and they're like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. But when it comes to sales, I'm afraid to ask for the sale. I'm afraid to talk about money. What is your kind of way of reframing it from fear to, like, how do you reframe it for them?
Everybody needs a process. We need a process for everything we do. And you can get it out of a book, you can get it in training, you can do whatever, but you have to have a process. And that's most important. And the thing in sales is look at the perspective of the customer, of the person you're trying to sell to. What matters most to them, and stay focused on that, and don't think so much about your product. I think there's one big mistake that we make in the corporate world. When we hire someone in sales, what's the first thing we train them on? Product, right? Got to know what you're selling, right? So you have to know the product, got to know all the specifics, the bits, the bytes, everything. It's not about that. It's what does my product that I'm going to sell do for that customer? What does it do for a chief revenue officer? What are they most concerned about? They're most concerned about making their numbers, growing their revenue, growing their market. So how does what I sell align to them? There was one tool that it's used religiously, and it was actually the tool that I took out when I started doing sales calls to remind me how to focus. And it's by W. Edwards Deming, who was alive a long, long time ago, but he had a theory on how buyers buy and the different buying phases that they go through. And if you understand where a buyer is in the buying process, meet them there. If they call up and they say, hey, look, we're going to buy this product. Heard you got a great one. Can you send me product and pricing information on it? Well, let's take a step back and think, where are they in the buying process? Somebody more than likely has already gotten to them and helped craft or helped drive what those requirements are based on them. And they probably have already given them a price. So at this point, the buyer is really just validating that that's the best solution for them. So if we come back with a list of what our products are and what they do, and we come back with pricing, then the buyer's going to say, oh, but it doesn't have this, which is something I wanted. And it's maybe a little bit more pricey. So I'm not going to buy from them. I'm going to buy from the original one. And the original one has the greatest potential to win because they created the vision with the buyer. So unless we can change that vision, then we don't have a shot at winning. And I can't tell you the number of times I go out and I talk to the VP of sales and he goes, we've got like 10, 12 proposals that are multi-million-dollar proposals. Let's get those closed. You need to help us do that. And I take a look at it. And the first thing I ask is, who's making the decision? Well, I don't know. We're talking to procurement. We don't know. We think it's probably on this, this side of the business. Do you know? Have you had contact with them? Can you get access to them? No, procurement's controlling it. No, procurement isn't controlling it. They're collecting proposals from everybody to validate that what they want is the best solution. And one of the hardest things that I've done and taught others to do is when you get an RFP and you can't get to that decision maker, push back. Say, no, I'm not going to do this unless I can get that meeting with these decision makers. And if you can't, if they say no, okay, thank you very much, then what does that tell you? It tells you that you just dodged a bullet because you're not having to invest all this time and resources on an opportunity that was never able to win.
I mean, we can apply this even in the coaching industry. There's so many people that hop on calls with us that have had multiple calls with people, and they come on and I know they say to me, well, what's your price? Like what? I'm like, whoa. And I always flip the script to be more of a buyer on that call than a seller. I'm like, whoa, I'm not sure if I want to work with you yet. Let's just have this conversation. Let's just see if there's synergies. This is a business partnership and we want to make sure that there's alignment. So I can give you my price, but I don't know anything about you. I don't even know if I can help you. And I find that just is like, oh, okay. You want to know about me? Yeah, I do.
It's them to pause, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing is recognize where your buyer is and meet them where they're at. Don't try to say, my gosh, I'm just going to spend all this time doing all these proposals. And the law of averages said I might win one, right? So I'll just do that. And we, especially in some of the bigger, more complex deals, we spend a lot of wasted hours on opportunities that were never yours to win in the first place. And just by changing your behavior also is a differentiator.
What are your thoughts on this? I believe, because I've seen it over and over again, how people sell is a reflection of how they buy.
I think profound.
Buying process is very similar to their selling process. And the reason why I say that is because I've done over 3,000 sales calls, enrollment calls, breakthrough calls, whatever people want to call them. And sometimes I will rush, okay, what's your problem? Where are you at? Where you want to be? Okay, great. Here's a solution. Do you want it? Yes. It's not as abrupt as that, but I'm very direct. I'm very to the point. But I noticed that that's also how I buy. This is my problem. This is what I'm looking for. Do you have a solution to this problem? Yes or no? Okay, yes, I'll go with. So I'm definitely more direct. I don't sit in indecision or wait for months to feel aligned or reflect on it spiritually, which has kicked me in the ass, But I do find that I had to really reframe how I sell because I was selling like I buy. And not everybody buys and sells the same way, right? The buying process is different.
And can I just say one thing? Sorry, MK. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. But Tina, I think that goes back to what MK was saying earlier, and it's more about what is that person? Where are they at? Right? MK, where are they? And when you ask that question, you sit and you listen to where they are, then you can sell them.
And I think it's in a lot of cases, the obvious winner in many, many situations is a company called NDI, No Decision Incorporated, because there is a disconnect with a seller and a buyer where the buyer says, hey, I'm just not there. I'm not feeling it. Or somebody else is controlling the budget and the budget is the driving factor, which they don't want to work with that. So NDI wins more times than not. And there's so many statistics out today that of all the sales that happen, there's a high percentage that go to no decision. And think about from your own buying perspective. How many times have you gone out, done your due diligence, looked at every solution that was there in the marketplace and said, you know what, I'm going to wait. Just not sure that this is the right fit. And we do that as sellers. We push buyers to no decision when we focus on product and price, because now you're asking, when you're just showing your features of your product and the price, the buyer has to figure out, does this map to my vision? How does it map to my vision? And if they can't, oftentimes they'll go to no decision. So the focus really needs to, what's the value to the customer and what's the vision that they're trying to achieve? And it's okay to walk away if the value is half of what the cost is going to be. Maybe it's not the right decision, but that's part of being consultative, saying that what you want to spend isn't going to get you the returns that you're looking for.
Mm.
We also do something that we teach a best practice to stay connected with that customer, because once you've got a customer, that's your best next customer, because you built that relationship and they trust you. And so we put in what we call is the measurements are called success criteria, is let's come back together and these things that are measurable, let's see how we're doing. It's a report card of checking back with the buyer to say, well, you know what, now that I closed that deal, I'm on to the next one, but it's here. I'm here as a partner to help make your job better and help you be more successful in what you're doing. So how are you doing? You were hoping that you'd increase your revenues by X%. Where are you? And if they're not, let's figure out if it's something in what I sold them or if it's something that they're not doing on their end. And it's a great way to stay connected. And again, that's a full consultative approach.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
This is a silly story, but I'll share it anyway, is when I was selling Girl Scout cookies a long, long time ago, I would go back to the people whose houses I sold cookies with and said, how did you like the Thin Mints? Do you still have any? I've still got some. And I resold, that customer. Because hey, there was a trip to Disneyland on the line here. I had work, I had a goal. And I found that sometimes your best customers are the ones who've already bought from you.
That's a good point. Oh man, MK, I know that we could literally talk to you all day.
Absolutely.
And you're such a wealth of knowledge. If people want to learn more about you, your company, how you can support, how you can help them maybe with their own sales process, their teams, how can they best get a hold of you?
So we do have a website. It's the Certesa Consulting Group, and we're based out of Southern California. You can always look up my name and it'll go to the website and give you all the information. Best way to contact us, happy to give any information to anybody that wants it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for listening. I hope you got a little piece of value. I hope you saw something in our sharing. And, this is the deal. We get to be unstoppable. And if sales is stopping you, do whatever it takes to get out of your own way so you can go out there, be badass, be brave, be bold, and make a bigger impact in the world. Vicki, you have anything you want to add?
I will make sure that all of your details are in the show notes as well, MK. It was a pleasure meeting you today, and I'm sure that our paths will cross again. Thank you.
Thank you both. I'm very excited to be here, and I love what you guys do. I think it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Everyone. Well, friends, that is the end of our episode today. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And please share us with your friends and tag us on your socials at The Art of Being Unstoppable. So for today, have yourself a beautiful day and let's be unstoppable together. See you next time.